Welcome to the Level Up Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Michael King, an executive coach dedicated to helping leaders reach new heights in clarity, strategy, and execution. Today, I'm excited to have a very special guest, Jen Gruber. Now, not only is she the CMO for everything that we do here at Teams.Coach, but she's also the new president of our agency vertical, Gawker Traffic. In this agency, we're diving into why we're launching an agency, the heartbeat behind of everything that we do, and sharing some valuable leadership insights along the way. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Jen Gruber to the Level Up Leader Podcast. All right, so Jen Gruber, welcome to the Level Up Leader Podcast. Are you stoked to finally be on this thing?
Thanks. Why? I had 1 minute at the very beginning, but yeah.
Yeah, you did. So, but it has been, we've been doing this thing for a while now. And so you've been such a great asset. And so thank you for just doing an awesome job for the team and just your commitment to friendship too, as well. So I appreciate you and I love what we're doing. So, talk to us a little bit about what we're doing now, what's this next thing and what's Gawker Traffic and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So super excited. So we've had a service that we've been providing many of your clients, Mike, actually on the executive leadership side and small business side. It's just really grown because of a need. And that is advertising services, but specifically SEO and social media management, and then content. I think I learned it best from you. It's my favorite phrase that I am thankful I don't have to pay licensing fees to you for, but I always tell whoever tells the best story wins. And that came from you. And that really is the truth. But it's not only who tells the best story, but how do you make sure people hear that story? And so that is a huge need that we've seen across businesses of all sizes, from really, really large to really, really small, but especially those small and medium businesses that really don't have the budget, really don't have the knowledge or the time to execute it. And that's really where Gawker Traffic was born. So I'm really excited of something that we've been doing for such a long time, being able to offer it to so many more businesses that we know really need this in their companies right now.
Absolutely. And I think, just the catalyst behind this is that when we started doing this, it was because you're right. Whoever tells the best story always wins. And that comes from my ministry days. I remember there was a gal that would sit on our creative planning team. And we were kind of I don't know, man. It was we were almost like the Wonder Twins when it came to my executive pastor world of creativity. But her name was Sienna, and she was our communications director. She just kind of drilled into this idea of whoever tells the best story always wins. And we saw that time and time to play out time and time again in the church that we were a part of, seeing this church go from 300 people in Lincoln, Nebraska to growing close to 3,000 people. And it was never about the thing that we were doing. It was about the stories that we were producing and how we made those visible. And there was something absolutely special that was going on in that. And so when we had an opportunity to come over into the executive coaching space, and we immediately started working with bigger organizations that I'm looking at these, what I would consider almost miraculous transformations happening in the lives of leaders that are leading either big companies, bigger churches, entrepreneurs that are launching, and they have a responsibility to have an executive brand, right? Well, I didn't really necessarily want to trust third-party organizations to be responsible for the stories that we were a part of. And so I wanted to, and I also didn't want our clients to feel like that they had to continue to pay out more and more and more and more for just being a good steward of their story. So, so that's how this whole thing got started, was just, it wasn't necessarily with us trying to be control freaks or anything, but it was us being a good steward of the story and me saying, I care about our clients. They become friends and I want to make sure that I take care of them. And so that's why that was really the heart behind launching these services in the first place.
So why now, Mike?
We have we have we've grown so much on the executive coaching side of it. And, I don't know when we started working together, but I would say, so 2017, 2018 started with Teams.Coach, and we were coaching, and I'm keynote speaking, and I'm working at everything. And I brought on my first executive coach working with me. And I just remembered feeling like maybe I needed to fake it before I made it, right? And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to, because I wanted to come across being confident, I wanted to come across as credible, I wanted to come across as relevant, and I didn't want to put out content that looked cheap and just kind of duct taped together. I didn't want it to look like the selfie videos on my iPhone, just recorded in a dark alley somewhere in the middle of all the other things that I'm doing, right? So the first thing that I did was I made sure that I partnered with and built up and even outsourced our media side of what we did. And and that was the thing that got people's attention right away. And I think somewhere along the way, like 2019, 2020-ish, like right before we went into COVID, that's when you came onto the team and started acting in some sort of advisory role. And now you're actually sitting in that CMO space for Teams.Coach. But because because of this one singular thing, we started to work with clients that had said to us along the way, hey, we'd love to have our stuff look as good as your guys' stuff, or you guys know how to do this, can you just do it for us? Or we offer it and saying, hey, you probably should be doing something along the way. I mean, we've had big companies where we've had to have that awkward conversation and saying, your SEO is really horrible, what are you doing about it? You know what I mean? Well, but because we've had that and because we've grown so much, we had to develop the systems for scalability for our internal media and communications department type stuff. We've had to figure out how to do more anyway. And so the next level of this thing was just literally, it kind of took on a life of its own and saying, okay, well, why don't we offer, not everybody wants coaching, because everybody who does coaching gets some sort of free version of Gawker traffic, right? Because again, we want to be a good steward of their story. But now it's just one of those things to where we have everything in place. And so it's the natural evolution of this to where we've seen some massive success, like massive success. Like we're seeing, like I can think of like one client, like Martin Ravinsky. I'll just give him a shout out. He's the president of Boardsy in Vegas. He's one of our clients. He's seen literally over a 1,200% improvement on his performance on SEO because he's on the platform. He's dominating it. And so we want those stories to be bigger. And so we want to be able to create the services that we've been doing for our clients for a long term. Now we get to offer this as a standalone because the time is right. And I think there's also other things there as well. Like what sets us apart, like, the why behind our price point is really important too. But I'll let you kind of talk about some of those things now. But to answer your question, like why is now the right time? It's just simply like, all the stars have aligned. We have everything that we need to be able to make the life of a business leader, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, better without them breaking the bank to get the things that we want. One of my value statements I've been saying for a long time with my coaching clients, I don't want people to have to choose between what we consider catalytic services and essential services. So why can't we do both?
No, I love that. Let's see. Okay, so why are small businesses struggling to do advertising? I think is a big question that I want to dive into. And one, you talked about it, is it's expensive. If we look at the economy the last few years, it is scary out there. We have more and more people that are losing their jobs. There's a ton of businesses that are shuttering. I saw a survey the other day that said 31% of small businesses that were surveyed in the past year said they were no longer operating. And a large majority of the reasons they said were economic factors. We know that the cost for employees are going up, costs for goods and services are going up. It's totally wild. And as you mentioned, Mike, these are essential services. The digital landscape, there's no yellow pages anymore. Maybe it exists. I don't know, probably in a trash can somewhere, or it's like someone's doorstopper, I guess, at their house. but it's getting more and more expensive, both financially and time-wise, to be in places for businesses that they have to be. Coming from a background of working with and for a large variety of big and small advertising agencies and media companies, SEO especially can be really, really expensive. I remember when the starting package was $2,500, $3,000 just to get your foot in the door. And I don't know many businesses, small or even medium to large size businesses, that can really afford to do that on a consistent basis. But when your customers are looking for you, they're going to Google.
Yep, that's exactly right.
You have to be there. So for us, the why behind Gawker Traffic really is it's something that it's essential for them, but it's also essential for us as community leaders to help those businesses succeed, because we need those small businesses and we want to see them flourish. We want to see them thrive, and we want to be those crown straighteners that say, like, hey, y'all, you can do this. And you don't have to take out a second mortgage on the house. You don't have to let go an employee just to be able to operate this. Or in some cases, you don't have to hire a whole new person to come in and do some of these things. We can help you do this for far less than what you ever thought and still see really great results.
And speed as well. You know, I've been a part of companies to where we've had to outsource SEO and do the research as far as like finding out, okay, what are some things we can do to get our SEO? And it's frustrating, like one of the companies that you and I were working on together, it was a project for Teams.Coach. They were a social media management platform, right? And they weren't investing in SEO. They didn't really want to do it. But the hard part about it was when we actually started looking at the keywords and just different things that are associated with SEO, it can get really expensive depending on who your competitors are. So if your competitors are blowing up and throwing a lot of ad dollars per se at specific keywords so they can dominate the search engines per se on those keywords, and they have a really exhaustive strategy, knowing that type of competitor is out there in the first place is knowledge that you need to know. But that's why it can get so expensive. And that's why a lot of SEO firms will tell you, like, it's going to be this amount of money, but we can't really guarantee any results. I didn't find that was acceptable answer. I think small businesses and even big businesses, you deserve a return on your investment when it comes to these types of services. And so that was the thing that we wanted to make sure of, is like, no matter what, like, I want to make sure that we're able to actually move the needle for our clients when it comes to this SEO. Because you're right. I mean, it's just like a couple of the platforms. It's like, yeah, now we have some AI and some chat GPT things that people are using to get their information from. But still, the majority of the traffic, when people are actually looking for businesses to do business with, they're going to Google. So what are we doing about it? Well, we figured it out. And typically our clients, they're able to see notches of performance within their SEO within 72 to 124 hours after the point of engaging with our platform. And that's huge. I mean, speed is money in all industries. So I wanted to make sure that we were able to tackle that problem.
Yeah, I love, so the big thing with Gawker Traffic is we have like superheroes and super fun, which, I mean, in general, although you're a DC person, I'm more of a Marvel gal, which is fine. We can hash that out later, but
the ship's getting ready to turn. The DC universe is about to explode.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like Marvel will always hit back and hit back harder, but that's a whole other, we should start having that's our fantasy football. It's our fantasy superhero draft. But
yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah. But with Gawker Traffic, I think the cool thing about that is, it really is a superhero situation when you're a small business or you're just a business leader, because we save you time and money, which are the two most expensive things, but we also deliver impact and we do it fast. So there's not these large turn times. It goes really, really quickly and it's pretty swift, which I think really what happened is you and I wrote down all the things that ticked us off about experiences that we had, and we figured out how not to do that.
Absolutely. And, complexity kills everything. So simplicity is scalable. So that's really the key on this. So what I love about these things is that we're not trying to do everything and dominate everything. We just know that these are the essential services that businesses should be utilizing anyway, but you shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for you to be able to amplify your brand and for you to be known for the thing that only you can do. So we figured a couple things out as well. So thanks
Yeah.
for bringing that up.
Yeah. So, with Gawker traffic, we're launching with three specific services. So we have SEO, we have search engine optimization, we have SEO and social media management. And then we also offer some content, blog writing, newsletter type services, all at three very affordable price points. If you were talking to a business owner today, where would you start them at? And what are your thoughts there?
It just kind of depends on, what level that they're at. So, I think just kind of dropping a little bit of leadership into this conversation here is that there's three levels of communication that need to happen within any organization. Doesn't matter like how big they are or how small they are. There's three levels. And so, but it kind of looks like this concentric circle. We have the core, the community, and then the crowd. Depending on the level of engagement that you have in all three areas will really necessarily determine, where you need to start. If you feel like you have some blogs already going, you feel like you have a really good marketing plan in place with your social media strategy, then just hop in at the lowest level. Just get in and just get your SEO taken care of. It's a hands-off process. It's going to open up so much your bandwidth, and then you're going to get ROI on it. You're going to have more traffic driven to your website, which is so important to making sure that you're connecting that crowd in with core activity. But if you're saying like, okay, we're not reaching the crowd, we're not really necessarily engaging with our community either really well, and our core is here. We know what we're about. We know this products and services that we provide, but we just don't necessarily know how to market that to the crowd. Then you might want to consider doing something a little bit bigger along the way. But the worst thing that you can do is do nothing at all, because eventually at the end of the day, you're going to be paying for these services, or you're going to be working with somebody for these services anyway. But the package that gives everybody the biggest bump is the full communications package. And I think it's incredibly, for the price that you might pay, for the price that it's a lower price than you would even pay somebody else just to do SEO, and we'll do everything for you, including giving you a social media manager to actually manage your content along the way.
Yeah, no, I think that's super cool. I think the other thing that I really love about this is just because we're partnered with Teams.Coach, and we're also partnered with Catalyst.Co. So for businesses and business leaders that kind of come into this thing and say, okay, I know I got to do something that's non-negotiable. We know that's there. I've got to start ranking when people are looking for me. I have to be active on Facebook, not even really, and maybe LinkedIn or wherever your customers are, which we do help give you some advice on where you need to be. But I've got to be there. If anything, just because when people go and look me up, they're going to look at my Facebook to see if I'm active. And you got to have stuff there. You got to show if you're a services company, what you're all about. You've got to have that constant conversation. Oh my gosh, Mike, what was I saying? Bless. Oh, haha. So you've got to have that conversation. But if you kind of dip your toes in this and you're like, man, I'm seeing how this works, but I really want to have better benchmarks, which we help provide some benchmarks, but I want to talk to some other leaders in the community. We actually can do that and connect you with other leaders and some additional resources through Catalyst.Co. So talking about that, because that's something that I've had several friends. I've actually made some friends from Catalyst.Co that have been entrepreneurs in that program. And man, that's been super impactful for their businesses.
Yeah, it's and we just launched a super creative domain name around it. firemybossnow.com. Isn't that like totally like Sirius XM radio worthy?
I love it.
But that was it. So the number one thing that holds businesses back from getting launched is really just initiative. It's just giving you the ability to know that you have some trusted people around you, so we can have a very, very programmed and systematic next step process for you to be able to launch or to scale your business without you having to sit there and wonder what to do next. So I love that. We have a really thriving group of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small businesses within the Catalyst.Co that, like last year alone, we launched 17 new businesses through the Catalyst.Co from people that said, you know what, I think I want to get out of my side hustle to get to my main hustle, right? And I love that. I love the ability for us to be able to inspire and for us to be able to provide hope and some sort of roadmap for people who have a dream that just simply need to know what to do next. I've always said this for a long time, like you're the sum average of the five loudest voices in your life. So surround yourself with the right people and watch what will happen.
Yeah. And that's what Catalyst Co does for you. Yeah, I love that. Well, what is your favorite thing about Gawker Traffic?
I think, I would say the efficacy of speed and autonomy is such a huge thing. So when we think about it, will also affordability too, but I want to, when say those big words, the efficacy of speed and autonomy is just number one, is that when we can create something that's somewhat autonomous, it opens up the bandwidth for the leaders that we get to serve. So that small business owner, that big business owner, or maybe it's that you're working on your personal brand. If you know that you have a team of people that are being your champion behind closed doors, and you don't have to worry about it, that is so valuable to you as a leader. So you don't have to worry about this. Like, you have a professional team that's elevating your brand and fixing some things that are important to your business. But the second one is just speed. Is that from affordability and then to get the results. I love it when I get on a call, like after 30 days of somebody that's running our SEO program, and for them to go, holy cow, a 40% increase in SEO activity in the last month. And we can see it. That's what I love. I love celebrating those wins and celebrating those stories along the way.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about Gawker Traffic really comes down to we just really cut the clutter. We're not trying to make something look super bougie and really fancy and adding bells and whistles that aren't necessary just to make a justification for a higher price point, right? You and I are both entering this as intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs that want to make sure that we really value and respect our clients and have honest conversations, honest relationships, but also provide honest results. So kind of walking through this myself as an entrepreneur and going, all right, I just want this to be simple. I want this to be affordable, and I want to get results. And that's really what this does, which in a way kind of sounds too good to be true. But the nice thing is that we've had, dozens of people that have already kind of gone through this program. It's 30 days to kind of opt out, because we do put, a good bit of time, but you're not having to sign year-long commitments. It's just kind of coming in, dipping your toes in the water. And I've not had one single client that's dropped off. They've continued to kind of go month and month again and move up to that next level, because we're able to build trust, we're able to build results with those customers. And that's really what's fulfilling to me, is that we're able to really give people back their time. We're able to give them back money in their budget, because a dollar has never had to stretch farther for small businesses today. And that is something that the more we can help them with that, it's so important.
See, and that's my heart right there, is what are we doing to make sure that that we create simple engagement and access points to really help and to champion small business and entrepreneurs. This doesn't have to be complicated. And I think a lot of times people end up losing their dream because they end up seeing how expensive some of these services are when they're so essential. I mean, we already talked about this, but if you don't show up on Google, like, you might as well be dead in the water. If you're not on Facebook, if you're not on Instagram, if you're not on, I mean, you don't have to be on all the social media networks per se, but the reality is that most businesses who are in existence have some sort of social media presence, and so you have to be there. And so if it's a have to, then you have to have a strategy to go along with it. All right, Jen, I got a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
Who's the best fit for this? What is the best type of client for Gawker Traffic?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to tell you, I think it could be anybody, really, just depending on what their goals are, but really small and medium-sized businesses and solo entrepreneurs, so solopreneurs, are really great fits for this. This is a very simple program. This isn't meant to be overcomplicated. So if you're, sitting in a Fortune 500 company, which we definitely have some customers that are at that level, you might have some bigger programs that you're wanting to look at. But really, it's anyone that just needs to get on Google, that really wants to maximize their budget. They want to make it simple, and they want to do it swiftly, get great monthly reporting, but not have to get as far in the weeds. That's going to be who we're going after.
Absolutely. And I love that. So if people want to be able to kind of check out what our initial public offering is for this, where do they go to find it and all that stuff?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, follow us on social media. Just look for Gawker Traffic. But otherwise, just go to gawkertraffic.com. just like our programs and our products, it is very simple. We make it really easy just to kind of see 1-2 punch our 3 packages, what they include, and within one button, you can reach out. You can go ahead and secure your program or your product. Or if you have questions, just shoot us a note there. We're really responsive and get back to you pretty quickly. So yeah, gawkertraffic.com.
No long-term contracts. It's easy. 30 days at a time, 1 month, monthly commitments that are renewable. And we do that differently because we are a champion for the business and for the small businesses. Even as an executive coaching firm, like sometimes this has come back to kind of shoot us in the butt, because here's the thing is that things change, like even with some of our executive coaching contracts, with the economy being up and down and all that stuff, we got away from long-term contracts because we just realized like people never leave our executive coaching programs because they're dissatisfied with what we provide as coaches. They end up having to leave because they had to lay off a bunch of their people because the economy shifted quickly, So those are just type of the things that I think that you want to look for in a partner, is somebody who is sensitive to the economic conditions and sensitive to culture within business, and making sure that you have somebody that's willing to be a champion for you. So that's really why we wanted to start this vertical and really, really help take business to the next level.
Yeah. The other thing too is this is all done right here. I mean, you and I, well, I guess I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. You're up the road in Waverly / Omaha, but this is our program is literally launched and run straight from Nebraska. So this isn't something that is just pushed overseas. You literally can message me or Mike on LinkedIn and talk to us personally. So not only do you have a personal approach, but you have 2 people that are championing for you and helping with you every step of the way. And I love that. And again, it's one of the things that you and I both look for in partners. And so I'm super excited to be able to offer that to other people.
Come on, let's go. Jen, I can't thank you enough for popping in and talking about this a little bit. I'm excited about some of the energy that we're bringing to the table, but also excited about your leadership. So thanks for leading this endeavor for us.
Yeah, for sure. More to come. I'm excited for people to check it out. Please go check out the website. If anything, not just to be shocked at how affordable this really is. I don't want to give away any prices because I want you to go look, because I have shown it to a few of my business friends and their jaws literally have dropped. Like, how can you afford to do this? So go check it out and let us know if you have any questions. I hope to be back and us talking about more wins from some of these customers that we have.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much, Jen.